I've eaten a lot of raccoon. Yes. The answer is yes. And I've eaten it hunting. I've actually had it served by my mom at the table away from her. And I have eaten raccoon. And yes, it's not uncommon at all. I'll tell you something that was one of my favorites, the squirrel. And it's wonderful, and my mother could do a great job of it. And we all had our favorite pieces, and my dad and sister, I have one sibling, a sister, and they would fight over, not fight, but my mom and I, it was just my sister and I as four siblings. My mom and I wouldn't even ask for the brain in a squirrel.
Oh, man.
And delicious, seriously.
My dad loves cow
My
brain.
sister always got it, or my dad.
The fight over the brain.
Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here for my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here. It's day number 3 of the draft. Most people are going to tune out, especially since the Cowboys don't have a 4th round draft pick to of course pick anybody with unless they trade up. This is crazy town here, and this is 2 years in a row that we haven't had a 4th round draft pick. And the Cowboys, I haven't seen the rankings yet of what people are saying thus far with the draft, but the Cowboys, they've made foundational type picks here. These aren't flashy picks. These aren't the Matthew Golden, the speedy wide receivers and things. And I'm hoping that this is just another step in the process of rebuilding this roster. But with the 7 picks that we have today, you're not expecting, lightning to come out of one of these picks. You're hopefully getting maybe a starter. Maybe you're getting some depth with special teams players. But, your meat of your draft, you've already had. And they've done some really good things. Our defense is definitely going to be better. Now, the Cowboys last year, had they had their 4th round pick that we used on Trey Lance, we could have got a running back. Today, if we had a 4th round pick, we'd probably get a running back. And the Cowboys have enough picks that they could take a 5th and a 6th and possibly move in late into the 4th round and possibly get one of those guys. We'll see how that falls. Speaking of falls, Shedeur Sanders, I'm sorry, there's a whole lot of going on here. It's nothing about ability at this point. This has to be teams feel like there's character issues, because you're looking at some of the guys that they're drafting now that literally will probably be just camp bodies, and he's still out there. How you have the number 2 quarterback prospect literally not sniffing anything, and it's gotten to the point of cruelty where people are prank calling him, basically saying, yeah, you're gonna have to wait longer. It's just insane what's going on with that, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. Right now, we're going to deal with the Cowboys. I watched the press conference last night on my way back from dropping off David Wiley, and listening to the Cowboys. They're excited about their picks that they have. In fact, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to call. I've got a nickname now, a new one, okay? I can't pronounce Donovan's last name. Last night I was calling him Donovan E. But it's not Donovan E. It's Donovan E.Z. Donovan E.Z. is what we're going to call him, because I'm a name butcher. But, of course, what would the draft be without the Dallas Cowboys secret recording? It's a secret. It's a secret. Nobody knows. No, oh, man, somebody snuck the camera in. It's funny how the secret camera is always in the exact same spot, right pointing at Jerry Jones. But be that as it may, let's listen in.
Donovan.
Yes.
Will McClay with the Cowboys. I got somebody who wants to talk to you. Hold on. Donovan, Jerry Jones.
How you doing, Mr.
Dallas
Jones?
Cowboys. We're happy to have you.
Okay.
secret audio.
I'll tell you this, you've got a lot of support in this room. We had a couple of people really wanting this pick, and boy, when we saw we had you, we just said, don't mess around here. Let's get him.
I appreciate you.
But listen, I want to hand you the head coach, and then coaches coming on in here. We got plenty of time here. Coach here.
This is Coach Shedeur, man. Congratulations.
I appreciate you, Coach.
I know one thing. You sure as hell know how to do a couple things that we love. Rush the frickin' passer.
Come on,
and play with edge, man. You know what I'm saying?
You know it. Yes,
so excited you're here. Hey, a couple guys, I want you to talk to Coach Eberflus. I want to say hello, but hey, congrats, my man.
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on. Here's Coach Eberflus.
Dono.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hey, man, this is Flus. I'm the D coordinator. How you doing?
I'm great.
Hey, man, I stood on the stump. Hey, I stood on the stump for you, man. I'm just telling you that.
Pounded the table for him.
I said, when is it you get a blue pass rusher? That means you're great with blue character like you. That's a rare occasion, man. You know, and you're a dog too, an alpha dog. So excited to have you on our football team, man. You're gonna kick ass and take names.
I appreciate you. You know it. You know it.
Oh yeah, I already know it.
I like that. I like that. So let's get to know Donovan EZ. Now, I hope I don't get copywritten. On this, but I want to play this in the background here. This is some of his highlights from last year. As a prospect, he's 6'2.5", 248 pounds, arm length 34. His hands are a little bit small. They're 9.25. They're not huge, okay? To give you an example, Tyler Booker's hands are 11 inches. So we're talking about 1 3/4 inches shorter. So it's like taking off your thumb at the joint. Well, actually a little more than that, unless you got really big hands like I do. But he has been an absolute positive beast. His prospect grade was a 6.4, okay, which will become a good starter within 2 years. However, you can't necessarily, it's 6.40. You can't necessarily go by and say that this is the be all end all, because a lot of times they have guys that they'll rank and say like, Giovanni and Clowney, that they said would be, the perfect prospect, and he was going to be a perennial all-pro. And by that rating, his career has definitely not been what you would think. And the reason the Cowboys took him was you weren't expecting him to be here, because literally, and I'm going to get to it in a second, he shouldn't have been. This was one of, when Stephen Jones was interviewed after the first round, he said they have guys that they have ranked as first-round talents that are still out there in the draft, and this is clearly one of them. His production score at the Combine was second at 87. His athleticism score was 84, which ranks 6. His total score was second. Now, it's funny because I got people, of course, immediately, he's a bust. He's a bust, man. Why we get this bum? Dude. He's a beast. Going down further, he is unbelievable as far as a pass rusher. He is literally 65. Forgive me, I'm a little tired, so I got to bed again after 2:30. 65 pressures last year. And him coming off the edge, you team up with Micah Parsons, you team him up with Dante Fowler, you end up getting Osa Ndigazua. What the Cowboys need to look at right now is we need to be a high-scoring offense, so that way we can put these guys with pinning their ears back and going after the quarterback, because he's relentless, as you can see in the clips here. I'm going to risk it here. I may end up having to re-record this, and we're going to be on at 12 o'clock, so we'll see if we get copywritten. But you look, relentless, continues to keep going to the quarterback. Guy's a beast. And this is one of those moves that's going to make you say, D-Law who? Because not only is he a good pass rusher, this is where Pro Football Focus actually has him half sacks. That, my friends, is unbelievable. So, yeah, I'm excited about this move. I'm excited about having him to the Dallas Cowboys, and I'll talk about Savon Ravel a little bit later. Now, the Cowboys, going in today, we've got 7 picks, starting in the 5th round. The question will be, is with the Cowboys on the clock, will they use any of those players to trade not position-wise, will they use these as trades that will be trades to bring in other players. A lot of times, team will have a wide receiver or a cornerback or somebody that it's a draft day trade. They're looking at saying, we can dump that contract, we can get an extra pick, and there's a guy on the board that we really believe in. Let's hope that we're going to be able to get some more veteran presence. I love what the Cowboys have done, but going into this draft, we all knew that there's too many places that we need upgrades on that we're not going to be able to fill them all with the draft. I know we looked at this and say, well, we got 7 more players are going to get in. But the chances of getting these 7 players to become starters and become, impact players that can get you the Super Bowl in 1 year is not going to happen. It takes time for these players to get up. What we're going to need is we're going to need players like Schoonmaker to take, his 3rd year step. We're going to need guys like Ferguson to really get back to beyond where he was, a season before to be great, and even role players like Jalen Tolbert to step up. But even with that, that's not going to be enough. The Cowboys have teased a couple of trades that we have to hope will happen, because we're going to need more than what we have. I know the Cowboys have said, we don't need a running back. That might be deflection in the same way that Matthew Golden basically was used as deflection. Can't call it anything other than that, other than the Cowboys didn't want anybody to know what their real thing was. And the bottom line is they've just looked at it and said, get me the best player there is out there when we're drafting. And that's what they pretty much have done so far. So they've helped their offensive line, which is helping their quarterback in the running game. Still need to go ahead and get that wide receiver. Still need to get that running back to help Dak Prescott right there. But you've definitely crossed that one off the board. You've got the replacement for Zach Martin. You've got some more help for the defensive front that can help stop the run and get to the quarterback. Boom. And then you've got Savon Ravel, who should be, we're coming back from ACL. We saw some workout tapes from November. He's on the exercise bike running 21 miles an hour. But they say he should be, by July, full go. Savon Ravel, before his injury, was one of the highest ranked cornerbacks in there. So now you have a guy, hopefully, that'll be ready to start the season. We don't know how good he'll be coming off the ACL, but you have a guy who could potentially be there for Diggs until he's actually ready to get back out on the field. You also, of course, had Stephon Gilmore coming in. So the Cowboys are putting in a lot more work than they have. Now, my buddy, Game Time Brian, and we'll be live streaming together because he knows the players. I don't. And I'm appreciative of having Brian because I'd be just literally lost. Be that as it may, he texted me this morning, and his whole thing was, I can't believe Shedeur Sanders has fallen like he has, and it's like, it's crazy. And, it's a message being sent to college players and to him. I think they're using him as basically, we're not going to put up with a whole bunch of crap. We've got the NIL genie that's out of the bottle right now. And you look at that and you just see how crazy that's getting, where you're getting players that, they're coming to the NFL. They might not be as hungry. And as Doc Walker always said, it's hard to be hungry when your refrigerator's full. And this dose of humility will be an example for future players to see what might maybe not to do. I'm going to finish this off this morning because we're going to be a little short because we're only about an hour and 10 minutes away from the draft kicking off. Here's a little bit reaction from Rich Eisen and crew from the draft on what's going on with Shedeur.
Through 7. Daniel, I throw to you your thoughts on night number 2 now that is in the books.
A lot of movement. I mean, you saw teams kind of know what they wanted to shop for, and they moved around the board to make sure they could go get it. I love what the New England Patriots have done. I thought it was going to be a fascinating storyline to see the quarterbacks picked last year, what their teams would do this year to help these young guys. And, man, I'll tell you what, Elliott Wolf, hats off to you with the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel and company. They've done a lot to help Drake May. It's been a good weekend and specifically a great night tonight for Drake May and the New England Patriots.
Two things come to mind for me. Number one, whatever you think your evaluation is of a player, don't take that as the gospel, because the league's going to tell you differently. Each one of these 32 teams has a different way of looking at a player, whether it's scheme fit, whether they want traits, whether they want production, size, you name it. So every time you think you know something, they may tell you differently if it doesn't fit their team. That's the first thing. The second thing is the aggressiveness of these teams right now. Joel, the trades and the people that we're working with, these are things we never thought we would see within division. You're never supposed to. No one cares anymore. How do I get the best value for my team? How do I get someone that fits? And people are willing to do it all across the board. And obviously, we didn't have a quarterback go, but we had a number of quarterbacks go ahead of him. Talk about Shedeur Sanders. I'm not trying to get you there, but that has been a big part of the story tonight.
Yeah, I think, what's interesting, you talk about when we evaluate outside of these rooms, these organizations, we just evaluate players. And we watch tape and we evaluate their play on the football field. But a big part of the evaluation for these NFL organizations is the player and the person. And tonight for Shedeur Sanders, this is a time for some deep self-reflection, because his play on the field would suggest that he should already have been selected. I think we would all agree with that theory, in particular in this quarterback class. There were some quarterbacks their play on the field, probably doesn't warrant the selection over his play on the field. Now, having said that, was his play perfect? No, it wasn't. There's some things that he needs to clean up. There's no doubt about it. The reason he is undrafted at this point is because of the person that sat with those teams and did not, for whatever reason, gel with them. And that's the self-reflection, because this process is all about selling yourself and trying to put yourself in the best possible position to go as high as you possibly can. And, Shedeur tweets out, "Thank you, God, for everything." And again, I'll just go back to this, Rich. I think it is a night for deep self-reflection for Shedeur Sanders about what he was bringing to the table.
I just see a league, though, that goes ahead and takes people with red flags like it's an amusement park.
All the time.
About things that you wouldn't want to touch somebody with a 10-foot pole, but we'll take that person because they're really talented.
Well,
and in this case, what?
Let me push back on that.
Because he interviewed badly, because he didn't. Okay, go for it.
I would just say quarterback is different because of what Ian talked about earlier in the night, in terms of once you get past the point where you're drafting for a starter and you're drafting for a backup, now that red flag or issue becomes a story and a narrative. And now the camera and the microphone is in the backup quarterback's locker. No organization in football wants the microphone and camera in the backup quarterback's locker.
But that's also maybe part and parcel of a head coach not being able to control the narrative. I mean, Bill Belichick would put velvet ropes around any cameras, anything, and then that would be completely removed. If the Pittsburgh Steelers chose Shedeur Sanders, what do you think? Mike Tomlin's suddenly going to have the narrative consume his locker room? No, there's somebody like Cam Hayward in there and TJ Watt in there and a whole bunch of veterans that can absolutely handle this sort of thing. So I don't kind of buy that. The one thing that I do want to push back on as well, or at least get your thoughts on, is the narrative that I'm seeing everywhere, that there are league folks who are trying to teach the Sanders family a lesson. I'm sure.
I know where you're coming from.
Go for it.
No, I absolutely know.
Because that is a narrative that's being talked about.
I absolutely know where
now.
you're coming from, because the thought that entered my mind tonight is, if I'm Shedeur Sanders sitting wherever you are right now, and this has not happened, you can't help but start to think it's personal. Like this people have decided collectively to come get me. And I can speak about that from experience. I've encountered a few things in my life where I started to think, oh, this is absolutely personal. You've come for me. It is a hard battle to fight your way through, especially when you are sitting there hurting and you know you're supposed to be picked by your talent and you haven't. So I wish you luck with that one, young man, because you're going to feel it. I'm not sure that's entirely true, but it's going to be hard for you to dispel that narrative until, as Joel said, you get that chance, get to the starting line and start to run your race again. I hope he gets that opportunity starting tomorrow.
It's hard.
It's still a mystery to me. It's a mystery to me. But, we've seen players that have been questionable before. Talent trumps all of it. But, hey, what do I know? It'll be interesting to see. Does he eventually make my buddy Richard happy and somehow he falls to the Steelers? I don't know. At this point, all bets are off. All righty, good people. We'll see you in about an hour. Peace out.